Hello and welcome back to my reading of my original novel, Nature's Culling. First off, I want to make it clear that the title of this novel is not a typo. So it's Culling, Culling. So it's not that nature is calling for something or anything like that. It's nature apostrophe S because it's something that belongs to nature, in a sense at least, and then culling, because nature is culling humanity. So we can just pretend that the title of the novel is Nature's Culling of Humanity. It's not that nature is calling, but it's nature that is culling humanity. Before we start, I want to talk about this a little bit. I have this laptop pillow and I use it sometimes if I sit in a sofa and I need to work on my laptop or if I need to do something. It's also quite handy for reading thick, big books or for reading my novel. So I printed out my novel recently and I put it in this binder, and it's a bit impractical to sit with it. And if I put it flat on my table, it will be a bit hard to read it. I will have to lean forward and then crane my neck down to read it. But when I put it on this laptop pillow, it is raised a bit and it's tilted upward, so it's easier for me to read in it. But yes, without further ado, let's just get into it. This is Nature's Culling, Chapter 2. It's Chapter 2 overall, but it's also Chapter 2 in the first act, and it's the inciting incident. Kenny mutters under his breath. Penelope stirs in bed and he grimaces. If she wakes up, she'll surely remind him that he needs to get it checked out. And maybe that's right. Maybe he does, but he hasn't got the time. There are too many things to do and he does not need to. He whimpers in pain as he accidentally stubs his toe. He curses and Penelope stirs again. Kenny, what time is it? Kenny grimaces, but the room is dark so she can't see his face expression. Maybe that's for the better. Oh, it's still early. I just need to use the bathroom. I think I heard you cussing. Yeah, Kenny says, I did. I stubbed my toe. Damn leg and damn toe, and damn bed leg, getting in my way. Penelope sits up in bed. You can turn on the light, it's all right. I'm awake. Kenny doesn't react right away, and so Penelope turns on her bedside lamp. The room is lit in the warm, subtle glow from the lamp, but it helps enough so he can clearly find his way. What time is it? She asks, a bit more insistently than before. Kenny grimaces again. This time she sees it because she sends him a worried look. It's 4:35. Oh, Penelope gets out of bed. Might as well get up and start today's work. Kenny sends her a small smile. That was what I was thinking too. It's just... He winces in pain and sits on a chair by the door to the bathroom. My leg, it's not good. I think you're right that I need to have the doctor look at it. Penelope sends him a small smile. She looks at him with worry and compassion on her face. I had a bad feeling that you would need the doc to look at it. Kenny grimaces and stands up again. Doctor or no doctor, I need to feed the cows and I need to... No, Penelope says. You don't need to do anything at all. Kenny frowns. But I... No, Penelope shakes her head. Until you've had Dr. Eden look at it, you don't do anything. But I need to herd the cattle to the western field and I need to plow the... No, Penelope says. You don't need to do anything. You should take care of yourself too, Kenny. Don't forget your own health. Kenny smirks and sends her a mysterious smile. You noticed that, huh? Sure I did, and Walt does too. We're both worried about you. You need not worry about me, Penny. I know that you probably can't do whatever you planned on doing today, but I think you should rest up. Walt, Melody, and I can do your work for you. It's just one day. Kenny grimaces. Just a note. Maybe he grimaces a bit too much, but he's in pain and he's worried and he's annoyed too because he can't really do what he wants to do. But well, onward to the story. Kenny grimaces. Just one day? Penelope nods. Yeah. At least wait until the doc gives you the all clear till you get back to work. But, Kenny says, shaking his head slowly, I'm not good with just doing nothing. I can't leave all of it to you. Don't worry, hon, Penelope says. We'll do your tasks as well as you would yourself. And you don't need to worry about me not being able to. Oh, Kenny bursts out. No, Penny. That's not what worries me. I just don't want to burden the three of you with my chores. It's okay, honey. It really is. We'd be happy to help you out. We're three fully capable people who can help you out. Maybe I don't need to write help you out 2 times in a row. I need to fix that. We'd be happy to help you. We're three fully capable people who can help out. Maybe that's better. Back to the story. But Walt and Melody have their own chores to do too, and you've got things to do too. I did that again. Chores to do too. But Walt and Melody have their own chores to do, and you've got things to do as well. I do, but it's all right. I was starting to get bored anyway. Already? Kenny grins at her. We're only in the early fall. Penelope shrugs. What can I say? The gloomy weather isn't gonna hold me back. Kenny laughs. That's good. If you let it stop you now, that'd be the first. And Penelope shrugs again. I guess. Penelope leaves through the door to the hallway, meaning that Kenny is free to use their ensuite bathroom. Then he doesn't need to walk far with his hurting leg. 30 minutes later, Penny is all dressed and ready for breakfast. When she heads back to the bedroom to check on Kenny, he is struggling to get dressed. What's wrong, hon? Kenny grimaces. Damn pants, they're too small. Too small? Penelope comes closer. Kenny tries to put on the pants again, but he groans and moans in pain, and Penelope gently encourages him to stop trying to pulling his pants down instead of up. When she sees his leg, her eyes widen. Kenny. What? Your leg. It's swollen. Swollen? What? Kenny inspects his own leg, and when he notices the difference in thickness between his two legs, his eyebrows raise. No wonder I couldn't pull on the pant leg. You shouldn't be wearing slim fit jeans with that bruise. That's a good point, I think. Kenny rolls his head. That's clearly a mistake. Kenny rolls his eyes. You don't think so? Penelope sends him a strict but loving look. She gets to her feet after having squatted in front of Kenny on the side of the bed. As he heads for his wardrobe, she says, I can't believe you tried so hard to put those pants on. It must have hurt. Kenny says, I guess that guys have to suffer for their appearance too. Penny finds another pair of pants and hands them to him. You don't need to worry about your appearance, hon. You look good in anything. Besides, if I really cared about the pants you're wearing, you wouldn't be wearing those. When she said the last word, she nodded toward the discarded tight pants she dropped on the floor. You don't like those? No. Kenny frowns, cocking his head. But I thought those were your favorites. Penelope laughs. No, silly, those are your favorite jeans, not mine. Kenny flashes her a smile. My mistake? With crossed arms and a watchful gaze, she stands beside him as he takes on the pair of pants he found for him. It looks much better. And the pant legs are wide, optimal for his swollen leg. The fabric isn't going to rub up against his bruise, and so it should help with the pain. Better? Yeah, Kenny nods. Much better, thanks. You're welcome. Don't be so stubborn, though. Stubborn? Yeah. She nods toward the discarded pants again. How long have you tried to put them on? Kenny grimaces. He looks thoughtful for a moment, then says, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. 5 minutes? Penelope stares at him wide-eyed. Do you know what you could have done with those 5 minutes? Kenny rolls his eyes. I know what you're trying to do, but you're right. I'm no good to anyone if I don't get the doc to check this out. I just want to get back to work as soon as possible. Then I suggest that you call Dr. Eaton right now. Right now? Before breakfast? Yeah, Penelope nods. The sooner the better. Kenny grimaces but nods. I guess you're right. You can just stay in here and I'll come with your breakfast. No, Kenny says. There's no need for that. I can walk. I'm sure you can, but it hurts though, right? Kenny doesn't answer right away, and that says it all. I knew it, Penelope says. Now you stay here and I'll get your breakfast. Call the doc in the meantime. Kenny nods. Aye, madam. Penelope smiles at him. Before she leaves the room, she walks over and kisses his cheek. Surprisingly, he doesn't say anything cheeky. He just smiles at her. Penelope leaves the bedroom and Kenny gets up from the bed again. Now that he's dressed, he might as well go to the kitchen and eat with Penelope there. He's bruised and sore, but he's not handicapped. He can walk a few meters. And he really tries his best, but he only makes it to the living room. Wincing, he sits down in a chair. He sighs, checks the time. 5 a.m. It's too early to call the doctor, but Penelope said that he should call him right away. He hesitates with the phone in his hand. He searches for the doctor's website, and as he figured, his phone won't be open till 7 a.m. He sighs. It's early morning. There's a whole day he could be productive and get things done, but instead he's incapacitated. If he tries to be active and get things done, Penelope will know about it and she'll scold him. Kenny can't help but smile. Even though she also looks cute when she's mad, he prefers when she's her usual warm, happy and charming self. Those are just some of the reasons why he fell in love with her. And the reason why he married her is that he can't imagine living the rest of his life without her. Tying her down to him and the farm was a smart move. His old man would have been proud. His late dad did the same thing. He made sure to make Kenny's mom fall deeply in love with him, as well as the farm and farm life, and when he asked her to marry her, she said yes immediately. Just like Penny. Farm life isn't for everyone, but he's stoked that he not only managed to find someone that he loves and who loves him too, but also loves everything about running the ranch and living there with him and their 2 employees. He smiles. That's right, he tells himself. It's their employees, not just his. They're married. Everything that's his is hers too now. He gets up with a grunt and gets the remote control from the coffee table. Flipping the TV on when he sits down, he wonders what's on at this time of day. He and Penny rarely watch TV, and when they do, it's in the evening. Watching a good western or comedy is something he likes to do, but rarely has the time for. And she likes to watch romantic movies. She's especially fond of movies that have won some kind of award, but Kenny jokes about those kinds of movies that it's a sign that you shouldn't watch them. Sadly, Penelope doesn't see the fun in that. The weather forecast. Kenny frowns. Shit, a storm is coming. As if it wasn't bad enough that he has hurt his leg. The weather host talks about strong winds and lots of rain. Shit. He should have plowed that field the other day when he thought about it, but decided to do something else instead. Now he can't even remember what it was that was more important than plowing the field. He listens carefully when the weather host talks about the neighboring state where the weather is going to be especially bad. They'll have to board up their windows to protect the glass. He winces. Shit. If they need to do the same. Once again he tries to stand and walk around a bit, but he can't help but limp. He frowns. Seems like it has gotten worse since yesterday and not better. Oh, Penelope says from somewhere behind him. I thought I heard someone talking. Yeah, sorry I moved. I just didn't want to stay in the bedroom. If I'm going to be immobile till the doctor has looked at this, I want to be in a more appropriate place. Penelope smiles at him. The look in his eye is playful. The night they had before was a bit of a puzzle, but despite his injury, they managed to be intimate. There might still be signs of what they did last night in the bedroom, and so it's certainly better if the doctor doesn't need to check his leg in there. Did you call the doc? She asks, changing the subject. Kenny's cheeks are slightly red, like hers. Apparently he's glad for the change of subject. No, I can't till 7. 7? Penelope's eyes are wide. Shit. Maybe they say shit a bit too much, I don't know. It's only in this chapter, I think, there's a lot of the word shit. I hope that's okay with you. But back to the story. Yeah, Kenny is silent for a moment, then says, I really hope he'll do a house call. He will, Penelope nods, crossing her arms. He's been your family's doctor since you were small, right? Kenny nods. I don't see why he wouldn't come. Kenny shoots a glance at the TV, then back at Penny. I just don't hope that he's too busy. If he's got the slightest bit of time, I'm sure he'll squeeze me in today, but if his schedule is booked, I might have to go to him. Penelope sends him a worried look. But would you be able to do that? Kenny grimaces. I don't know. All I know is it hurts. I'm starting to fear that I shouldn't have walked on it yesterday. Wide-eyed, Penelope bursts out. And yet you wondered about this morning? Kenny grins and shrugs. Yeah, I'm sorry. Penelope uncrosses her arms. She comes over and squats in front of the chair. I'm not mad at you or disappointed, Kenny. I'm worried. Your leg, it really doesn't look good. I know, Kenny grimaces. It's my leg. If you worry about me, I understand that, but I worry about my leg. What if it's bad? I need to be able to work. One thing at a time, hon, Penelope says. If it should turn out that it's that bad, we'll figure it out. I've already assured you that the 3 of us can do your tasks. It's manageable divided between us. At least it's fall now, so there are fewer things to do. Kenny nods. Yeah, at least that's a good thing. There are fewer things, yes, but still lots to take care of. I know, Penelope says. This isn't my first fall on the ranch. Kenny winks at her. It sometimes feels like it. Oh, you, Penelope says, gently slapping him. Kenny grins at her again. If I can't really do anything till the doctor has checked it out, would you mind bringing me A Tale of Two Cities? Oh, sure, Penelope nods. Her face brightens in a smile. Aren't you sick and tired of reading that book by now, though? Kenny laughs and shakes his head. No, you can never get too much of a good story. Penelope goes straight to the massive bookshelf. She knows how the book looks and where it's placed among all their other books, and so it's quick to get it. When she hands him the book, he asks, What about breakfast? Oh, Penelope says, it's almost done. What are we having? The same thing that Melody usually makes for us all on Fridays. Kenny's eyes widen and a broad smile spreads on his face. Really? Yes, Penelope smiles back at him. I wanted to make it this time, then she's free to do other things than fix breakfast when she comes over. Makes sense, Kenny says. I'm sure she'll appreciate the gesture. Me too, Penny says with a smile. Besides, now that we're going to do your work for you, I'm sure she'll be thankful that she doesn't need to do a lot extra. A lot extra? Kenny asks with a raised eyebrow. Yeah, Penelope says with a smirk and a shrug. You know, breakfast is a big deal, at least it is for me. I'm not that good or quick at making it. You're plenty good at it, Penny, Kenny says. But you're right that she's faster. But she's done it a lot more than you. Indeed, Penelope smiles at him. She checks her wristwatch. I might actually be burning the bacon right now. I'll go check, but when it's ready, I'll bring the breakfast to you. Thanks. Penelope leaves him in the living room and heads to the kitchen. She tends to the food, and thankfully, the bacon isn't burned. When she's dividing the food on 4 plates, someone unlocks the front door and comes inside. A moment later, both Melody and Walt stand in the kitchen. What's this now? Walt says with a grin. You're not Melody, but that is our usual Friday breakfast. Penelope flashes them a big smile. I wanted to relieve you of making breakfast. We were up earlier anyway. Oh, Walt sends her a worried look. Yeah, Penelope tells them about Kenny's leg. Walt and Melody nod. Of course we'll help out, Walt says. Yeah, sure thing, Melody agrees. And I would have loved to cook breakfast. It's no problem, Penny says. I think it's good for me that I cook for us sometimes. Melody nods approvingly when she glances at the food on the plates. Melody came over to start her day of work, but her workday is usually different than this. Penny is sure that Melody had expected that she had to make breakfast. They've always eaten breakfast together, and it's usually Melody who makes it. She locks herself into the house and starts breakfast so it's ready when Penny, Kenny, and Walt are up and ready. Melody makes lunch too, and they eat both those meals together, all 4 of them. Unless they're really busy though, and they just grab something and eat it when they're out in the field or in the stables. The only meal they don't eat together is dinner. Walt and Melody cook their own food and have the night off, and Kenny and Penelope do the same. Traditions change, but some things stay the same, and Penny is sure that they all agree that eating most of their meals together is something that will never change. Breakfast is ready now? Walt asks. Yes, it is. Walt and Melody wash their hands and grab a plate each. Penny grabs 2 plates and she leads the way to the living room. They normally eat in the kitchen, but they'd rather eat together in the living room even though it might be messy. If Kenny can't come to the food and the others, then they and the food need to come to him. When they're done eating, the clock is only 6, and so they have to leave Kenny alone in the living room. Penelope insists that she cleans up after breakfast, and even though Melody objects, she finally agrees to start on another chore instead. There's nothing for Kenny to do but wait till 7 when he can call the doctor, but the others can't wait for him to call. When Penelope is done cleaning up in the kitchen, she goes to check on Kenny. Are you sure you'll be okay? Kenny smiles at her. Yeah, only a half hour to go. I can wait a bit. I just hope he'll have time to stop by today. Me too. Penelope smiles at him and kisses his cheek. He hasn't brushed his teeth, but she doesn't seem to mind. She's all ready for the day's work, and when she leaves him, he returns to reading in his book. As he reads, he smiles. It's still a wonderful story. It's old, but it's like it hasn't aged at all. He gets so wrapped up in the book that he forgets that the TV is on. 4 hours later, the house stirs again. They had breakfast a little earlier than usual, and so they're hungry before their usual lunchtime. Penelope, Walt, and Melody come inside, and Penelope gets straight to work on lunch. Melody insists on helping, and while they prepare lunch for all 4 of them, Walt puts away the things he bought when he was out shopping. When the lunch is done, Penelope arranges food on 4 plates like at breakfast. This time, Melody takes the plate for Kenny, and Walt takes his own and Penny's plate. Then she doesn't need to walk back to the kitchen for the tray with the glasses and beverages like she did for breakfast. When they file into the living room, Kenny is wrapped so much up in his book so that he doesn't notice them until they put the tray and plates on the table. He looks up. "Oh, is it already time for lunch?" "Yes," Penelope says, grinning at him. "You've just been reading these past few hours?" Kenny smirks. "Yeah, what can I say? It's a good book." Walt looks at the book in Kenny's hands and nods with approval. Yes, indeed. Charles Dickens really knew how to write. "He sure did," Melody chimes in. Kenny laughs and glances around between them. "You don't need to be so appeasing around me. It won't hurt my feelings if you disagree. It's okay if you don't think it's a good book, but I do." "Son," Walt says, "we're not just saying this to be kind to you because you're hurt. We know that you can take a bit of teasing, hurt or not." "Thanks, Walt. I wouldn't have it any other way." Penelope hands Kenny's plate to him and sits back with her own. The others grab their plates too and they dig in. If not for the news host on the TV, the room would be silent. "And now to some concerning news," the news reporter says. The 4 of them keep eating and just enjoying having lunch in cozier surroundings than usual. The first few cases seem to have started in the outskirts of the state. At this point, there's no cure for the disease, so we here at name of TV station advise that you take caution. At this time, it is unknown whether the sickness spreads via drops or whether it is airborne. Until we know more about this virus, everyone is encouraged to wear masks and disinfect their hands. The news reporter clears his throat and moves on to other news, seemingly unfazed by what he just said. But Penelope, Kenny, Walt and Melody sit there, open-mouthed. "What?" Penelope bursts out. "A virus?" "Sounds like it," Walt says. Kenny frowns. "I've had the TV on all morning, but if they talked about it before, I haven't noticed." He grimaces and adds, "I'm sorry I got so caught up in my book." "Don't be sorry, son. It doesn't change anything anyway." Kenny shrugs. Maybe not. But if they talked about it earlier, then maybe I could have warned you so that you wouldn't go into town." Walt takes a deep breath. "But I did. I didn't notice anyone who seemed to be sick." "That's a good start," Penelope says, "but that's no guarantee." Walt nods. "Agreed. But I didn't know. I know that you can probably infect others before you get symptoms yourself, but if I've already been exposed to this, then..." "I know," Penelope says. "There's nothing to do about that. Let's just hope you didn't get it." "Yeah," Melody chimes in. "And even if you have gotten it, let's just hope it's not that bad." Kenny winces. "I'm not sure, but I don't think it's a regular virus. Otherwise, they wouldn't talk about it on the news like that." "Maybe you're right," Penelope says. She swallows visibly, and Walt and Melody send her a worried look. "Good thing we don't live in town. Less risk of catching it." "Indeed," Walt says. "I might have been exposed already, like I said, but let's hope I'm in the clear. At least we won't have to go into town for the next few weeks." "Next few weeks," Penelope repeats. "Let's hope it won't be an issue at that point." "Yeah," Walt says. "Let's hope not." "But," Kenny interjects, "maybe we should just order stuff online the next time." "Good idea," Walt says, nodding. "But if someone needs to go when we need to get new supplies, it can be me. I'll be careful." "I'm sure you will," Penelope says. "But if this virus thing escalates, we'd rather prefer that we all stay here." Walt and Melody are quiet for a bit, but then Melody says, "For now, it's okay. I'll stay here." "Me too. I'm not going anywhere, Walt says. Maybe I use the word says a bit too much. I've heard or read somewhere online, or maybe in a YouTube video by someone else, that the word says or say in a novel is not necessarily a bad thing. But if you overuse it, then it becomes very visible to the reader. So when I read it out loud, it's clearer to the reader, I guess, or to you who's listening, than if you just read the novel. So it's a good thing for me too that I read it out loud, so I can hear maybe I use the word says and say a bit too much. But it's a first draft, so there will be things I need to fix anyway, even though I would think that this first draft is a pretty clean one. But back to the story. Good. Penelope nods and smiles as she looks around at the others. It's the sensible thing to do, Kenny says. Being isolated, I mean. He grimaces slightly and adds, but I got a hold of the doc. He's quite busy today. Lots of patience, but he'll swing by on his way home. Penelope bites her lip, then she nods. All right, it can't be any other way. We can only hope that he hasn't gotten the virus from one of his patients. It's likely, though. I know, Kenny nods. With a glum face expression, he adds, maybe it's better if I call him back and let him know he shouldn't come? No, Penelope says. You're not getting off that easily. He needs to check your leg, Kenny. Kenny grins. Shrugging, he says, it was worth a try. Penny exchanges a look with him. He looks like he's kidding around, but the worry in his eyes is clear. He's worried about his leg, but he's also worried about the doctor coming to them. If he's got the virus, they all run a risk of getting it. But hopefully the virus isn't as bad as the news reporter let on. We'll take our precautions. I'll let him through the porch door, and I'll make sure to disinfect whatever he might touch while he's here. Hopefully, Kenny says, he'll only touch me. He pauses for a bit, then meets Penelope's gaze. And once he's done, you'll help disinfect me, right? Yeah, Penelope says, shrugging. She manages a small teasing smile. I can disinfect your leg too. Kenny winks at her. I was talking about giving me a shower. Another shower? Penelope asks, raising an eyebrow. Yeah, Kenny grins. Something positive has to come from this news about the virus, right? Walt shakes his head. I get what you mean, but no, I don't think there's anything positive about it. I think that Penelope is right that it's not just a regular virus. Silence falls in the living room, except the reporter on the screen. Penelope reaches out, grabs the remote and turns off the TV. No more bad news today. Okay? Kenny smiles at her. I'll do my best, but it's up to the doc. No, silly, Penelope says. He doesn't decide what's wrong with your leg. He only gives you a diagnosis. Then here's hoping the diagnosis isn't that bad either. Agreed. They all toast with their glasses of milk, but they eat the rest of the food in silence. That was chapter 2 of my novel, Nature's Culling. This chapter was one of the longer ones, but a lot of things happen, I think. Maybe I could have told it, or maybe I could have told this part of the story with fewer words, but it is as it is. There's a lot of showing in this chapter, and I think that's good because sometimes you need to show a lot, and at other times you could just leave it at telling certain things, but well, that was it. I hope you liked this part of the story, and I hope you'll watch the next video where I read chapter 3. That's it for now. Until next time, take care. Thank you for watching.